What's up, guys? ShadowNet here. I'm back with another video of Neverwinter. Sorry, for a second I was on the tongue twister there. I'm here to show you guys my build for, my Hunter Ranger. It's not my personal build, but I love it. It's amazing. I'm also trying out another build. I don't have builds of my own, of course, but I do find builds, I try them out, I see if I like them a lot, and I decided, I'm gonna post a couple, to anyone else out there that's watching, So the first build here, the one that I'm using, which I love, it's absolutely amazing. It's great because the DPS on this build is crazy. This build does so much damage, absolutely so much. I'm on the top of the leaderboard every time with at least doing 4 million damage. In my guild so far, I've beaten out the pretty much the top tank in the guild just with DPS alone. That's how great this build is. It's amazing. So I'm gonna go on ahead here and show you a couple of my feats, powers, stuff like that. So I have not entirely finished this build. Okay, so just for the record, just letting you guys know, this ancient roots that you see here, it is supposed to be maxed out, 5 out of 5. Okay, not 1 out of 5, 5 out of 5. All right, just letting you guys know that from now, because I have not finished it entirely. As you see, I'm only level 66, so just letting you guys know that. So first here, we're gonna start off with the heroic feats that when you get your heroic feats for all the heroic effort you do. We're gonna start off with swift footwork, which it allows your stamina to regenerate a lot faster, which comes in handy a lot, especially when you're trying your best to get away from enemies. Not only that, when you're trying to dodge enemy attacks, because as a ranger, you want to be quick on your feet. That's pretty much how you are, quick on your feet. Next you have endless assault. Your encounter powers deal 6% more damage since it's maxed, so 6% more. In this build, you're going to be using a lot of, encounter powers like, you have hindering shot that we're going to be using, Marauder's escape. We're going to be using a lot of those constricting arrows, and we're going to be using the at-will's rapid shot, and I believe my L2 is aim shot, because I just love it. I love it only for the simple reason, like, I like to open, just like in the build, you want to start off by doing aim shot. Let me see if I can show you guys here. Let's see, enemy, boom, right here, aim shot. It does a lot of damage. As you see, it does a lot of crit to it. Pretty much for it. And I will get into all of this soon. First, I'm going to show you guys the feats, all that little good stuff. You know what I mean? Crazy amount of damage. You're pretty much flying back and forth on the field, so you're not taking too much damage unless, like, you run up to an enemy and you take a straight on direct hit while you're doing your combos. Then that's pretty crazy, because I get that a lot. All right, so you're not going to be taking non-damage the whole time. You will get hit here and there, and trust me, when you get your level up, let me tell you right now, them heavy hitters are crazy as hell. Like, it's absolutely crazy. These guys hit hard in the fiery pit, so it's crazy. The next feat we're going to go into here is weapon mastery. You want to increase your crit chance. When you're a Hunter Ranger, it's all about the crit. I know lifesteal comes into play and stuff, but personally, I believe that lifesteal is more for the rogues, seeing that they're up close and personal rather than range like me. So, they're going to need that lifesteal when they're taking hits. You know what I mean? Next, you have toughness. It increases our hit points, the amount of damage we can take, our health pretty much. We have agile combatant. After switching stances, you deal more damage for like 5 seconds, and over time it'll increase because you still have your Paragon feats, so that'll come up. And then you have last, disciple of dexterity. It increases the amount of bonus damage dexterity gives you. You know, for a Hunter Ranger, dexterity, and if I'm correct, I think it's dexterity and wisdom. Those are pretty much where you want to spec into a lot. Because dexterity, it gives, excuse me, a lot of AoE damage resistance. And wisdom is crit chance, control bonus, control resist, while strength is, just, resistance, ignored. DOT damage, resist, you read it there, it's all there for you. Physical power, but it's all you. Personally, I feel like I should expect more into strength and dexterity, but, well, not strength and dexterity, more like strength and wisdom, because the physical power and the crit chance, crazy. But, you want to be able to take not a lot of damage, even though you will get hit hard. You don't want to take too much damage to the point where you're down for the count. You want to get in, get out. That's pretty much what you're doing on your rotation. So this is how these are looking right now. But first, when I first started, I started putting points everywhere, because I thought, you want to just work on everything. You don't want to just work on the ones highlighted. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. So I'm going to be fixing that on my second character. So back to the feats. For our Paragon, I went with Stormwarden, and that's also what the build that I found went with. The build that I found is by James Gleason. Check him out, guys. He's great. That build that he showed me is amazing. He plays on Xbox One. Shout out to you, James Gleason. Your build is absolutely freaking amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. So the first one we want to start off is with Fleet Stance. When you switch, between your melee and your bow and arrow, you move faster for 6 seconds, and we have that maxed, so we have 10% faster. We move 10% faster. That comes in handy. You move a lot quicker. You're more agile after you move, because say like you're in the middle of a battle. Let me see if I can give you guys an example here. Alright, so we're gonna use aim shot here, right? So after that, we move quick. It increases our movement speed. Now say I'm switching. You don't really want to take too much damage and everything. So what I do is switch every now and again. See that? Yeah, and you move pretty much. It just increases, your speed. And then, you have your stamina. I like to call it fade step, which we do. It's pretty awesome. It's really nice. If I'm correct, I think I got that idea from Bleach. I'm not sure. They might call it different, but I call it fade step. It's really cool. The next feat that we have in the Trapper Paragon is Death Strikes. Your melee encounter powers cause your next range encounter power to deal 10% more damage, and vice versa. So basically, after you use I go ahead and I use my aim shot. After I use my aim shot, then I use constricting arrows, which is my ranged attack. Then I switch, right? And because I use my ranged attack, it makes my melee attacks a lot more stronger. It just makes it that much more stronger and amazing. So and you're just doing that much more damage. And we have that maxed out, of course, so that gives you 10% more damage, right? Next, these two right here, Trapper's Cunning and Forced Bond, they were not in the build. If I'm correct, the mod that James Gleason was in when he showed the build, it only had 4, so it pretty much only had Fleet Stance, Death Strikes, Ancient Roots, Thorned Roots, Serpent's Bite, Swiftness of the Fox, Nature's Fury, and Readied Stance. That's all it had. It didn't have Trapper's Cunning and Forced Bond. So I went through, I read what they do, and Trapper's Cunning, your critical strikes have 25% chance to apply weak grasping roots. So what was my reason for putting this here? Let me think, because I don't remember, but I had a really, really good reason for it. When you're doing crits on enemies, and as a Hunter Ranger, you do a very good amount of crit. So, every time you're doing those crits, you have a 25% chance of you know, adding weak grasping roots, which comes in handy a lot, so in my opinion, so that can work. Next, you have Forest Bond. When you apply grasping roots, you reduce the cooldown of all your currently recharging powers. Alright, so now say when you are to switch between your abilities from range to close range, right? What it does is, here, I'll fire a constricting arrows, I'll move in, use all my abilities, I switch back. See, the cooldowns all go down very quickly. I use all my abilities here, see, it goes down very quickly. Comes in handy here. But it all depends on the way you use it. One thing that James Wilson didn't really explain to you is that, you know, when you're in this, like when you're using the combo, there's times where like the rotation of your abilities, it will just stop. It'll just give out, completely give out. It'll start. You'll notice that, you know, the cooldown is there. That's when you want to pop your daily, which I have Cold Steel Hurricane because it just does a lot of damage, and it looks really cool to me. It does a lot, and it also, you know, it has let me see, it has I think grasping roots on it, if I'm correct. I might be wrong. I think I am. Yeah, it does snaring. It snares its foes, and I was just like, you know, hell yeah, if I'm snaring all the other enemies, why not snare them with my daily? Like, screw it, let's do it then. So, you know, I got that, and the damage on it is phenomenal. It does like 5,000 damage every time it's sitting there on an enemy. Sometimes I'll get really lucky where one of my friends, he does this combo where I fire it and he blasts the enemies into it. Or I have my other friend who's a mage. He would use his fire tornado, bring all the enemies in for crowd control, and I would just fire that, and it would just completely demolish all the enemies. It's absolutely amazing. So, you know, sorry for jumping from feats to powers, but that was one of the powers I used. Then we have ancient roots. You know, your weak grasping roots now last longer. You know, you want that to last longer when they're in those grasping roots. So, you know, that comes in handy there. Your swiftness of the fox, your melee encounter powers shorten the cooldown of your ranged encounter powers. See, so now applying the grasping roots cooldown, applying grasping roots brings down the cooldown, but then when you switch between your encounters and using them, you know, it brings down that cooldown even more. That's the reason why I got Forest Bond. So it brings down that cooldown a lot faster, a lot better, and it comes in handy a lot. The next feat that you're going to need is Serpent's Bite. Your aspect of the Serpent class feature now provides 5% more damage per stack. Now that works in accordance with the ability called Aspect of the Serpent, and what it does is it's a damage buff. So you know, you get 3% more damage over time, and it stacks. So when you're shooting an enemy, you know, you keep shooting that enemy, and over the damage continues to rise and stack, and it does more damage over time. That's just a really good buff. I'll show you right now a good example. See, I'm shooting this enemy moves from 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, you know, and it's just amazing. So these enemies here, like I said, they're pretty hard hitters. Trying not to get hit here. Ooh, that's close. Alrighty, there we go. Anyways, now the last one, second to last, excuse me, your strong grasping roots are upgraded to thorned roots. So when you use your grasping root or one of your abilities, I believe it's for Marauder's Escape, I believe. Or I could be wrong. It might not be. What power is it? It's a certain power, if I'm correct. And yeah, Hindering Shot, Hindering Strike. The melee, when you slash your enemy's ankles, it applies strong grasping roots. So, you know, after you finish using that O ability, it applies grasping roots on your targets, and they take damage over time. Watch. snared them. See, they're just taking nothing but damage over time on their own, just from that ability alone.